Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
The process of bringing ideas or events together in memory or imagination. Shifting from one form of transportation to another. The plane was late and he missed his connection in Atlanta. A relation between things or events, as in the case of one causing the other or sharing features with it. There was a connection between eating that pickle and having that nightmare. An instrumentality that connects. He soldered the connection. The act of bringing two things into contact, especially for communication. There was a connection via the internet. The state of being connected. The connection between church and state is inescapable. A connecting shape. A supplier, especially of narcotics. Usually plural. A person who is influential and to whom you are connected in some way, as by family or friendship. He has powerful connections. A social or business relationship. Many close associations with England. The process of bringing ideas or events together in memory or imagination. Conditioning is a form of learning by association. A formal organization of people or groups of people. A relation resulting from interaction or dependence. Flints were found in association with the prehistoric remains of the bear. Chemistry. Any process of combination, especially in solution, that depends on relatively weak chemical bonding. Ecology. A group of organisms, plants and animals, that live together in a certain geographical region and constitute a community with a few dominant species. The act of consorting with or joining with others. You cannot be convicted of criminal guilt by association. The state of being connected together as in memory or imagination. His association of his father with being beaten was too strong to break. The process of bringing ideas or events together in memory or imagination. Shifting from one form of transportation to another. A relation between things or events, as in the case of one causing the other or sharing features with it. An instrumentality that connects. The act of bringing two things into contact, especially for communication. A connecting shape. A relation between things or events, as in the case of one causing the other or sharing features with it. The state of being connected. An instrumentality that connects. An instrumentality that connects. An uninflected function word that serves to conjoin words or phrases or clauses or sentences. Connecting or tending to connect. Connective remarks between chapters. An instrumentality that connects. He didn't have the right connector between the amplifier and the speakers. The act of bringing two things into contact, especially for communication. The joining of hands around the table. A two-way radio communication system, usually microwave, part of a more extensive telecommunication network. A fastener that serves to join or connect. The walls are held together with metal links placed in the wet mortar during construction. Make a logical or causal connection. Be or become joined or united or linked. The travelers linked up again at the airport. An interconnecting circuit between two or more locations for the purpose of transmitting and receiving data. Link with or as with a yoke. The means of connection between things linked in series. The state of being connected. A connecting shape. A channel for communication between groups. Connect, fasten, or put together two or more pieces. A unit of length equal to 1/100th of a chain. Computing. An instruction that connects one part of a program or an element on a list to another program or list. The power of retaining and recalling past experience. He had a good memory when he was younger. An electronic memory device. A memory and the CPU form the central part of a computer to which peripherals are attached. The cognitive processes whereby past experience is remembered. He can do it from memory. Something that is remembered. Search as he would, the memory was lost. The area of cognitive psychology that studies memory processes. He taught a graduate course on learning and memory. The cognitive processes whereby past experience is remembered. He enjoyed remembering his father. The act of moving something from one location to another. Hold spellbound. A mechanism that transports magnetic tape across the read, write heads of a tape playback recorder. Something that serves as a means of transportation. A state of being carried away by overwhelming emotion. Move while supporting, either in a vehicle or in one's hands or on one's body. The commercial enterprise of moving goods and materials. Transport commercially. Send from one person or place to another. An exchange of molecules, and their kinetic energy and momentum, across the boundary between adjacent layers of a fluid or across cell membranes. Move something or somebody around, usually over long distances. The act of moving something from one location to another. Act of transferring property title from one person to another. The transmission of information. Something that serves as a means of transportation. Document effecting a property transfer. The act of moving something from one location to another. Transfer from one place or period to another. Transfer somebody to a different position or location of work. The act of moving something from one location to another. Application of a skill learned in one situation to a different but similar situation. Move around. Transfer the packet from his trouser pockets to a pocket in his jacket. Transferring ownership. Change from one vehicle or transportation line to another. The act of transferring something from one form to another. The transfer of the music from record to tape suppressed much of the background noise. Someone who transfers or is transferred from one position to another. The best student was a transfer from LSU. Send from one person or place to another. Lift and reset in another soil or situation. Shift the position or location of, as for business, legal, educational, or military purposes. A ticket that allows a passenger to change conveyances. Cause to change ownership. I transferred my stock holdings to my children. Move from one place to another. Transfer the data. The act of expelling a person from their native land. The sentence was one of transportation for life. The act of moving something from one location to another. The sum charged for riding in a public conveyance. A facility consisting of the means and equipment necessary for the movement of passengers or goods. The commercial enterprise of moving goods and materials. The United States federal department that institutes and coordinates national transportation programs, created in 1966. Law. The principle that an act done at a later time is deemed by law to have occurred at an earlier time. His attorney argued for the relation back of the amended complaint to the time the initial complaint was filed. Sexual activity between individuals, especially the insertion of a man's penis into a woman's vagina until orgasm and ejaculation occur. A person related by blood or marriage. He has distant relations back in New Jersey. An act of narration. He was the hero according to his own relation. An abstraction belonging to or characteristic of two entities or parts together. Usually plural, mutual dealings or connections among persons or groups. International relations. The act of arranging a piece of music for an orchestra and assigning parts to the different musical instruments. An artifact, or system of artifacts, that is instrumental in accomplishing some end. The act of providing or using the instruments needed for some implementation. The instruments called for in a musical score or arrangement for a band or orchestra. An artifact, or system of artifacts, that is instrumental in accomplishing some end. A subsidiary organ of government created for a special purpose. The quality of being instrumental for some purpose. The act of changing the unity or wholeness of something. An occurrence that involves the production of a union. The state of being joined or united or linked. The act of making or becoming a single unit. He looked forward to the unification of his family for the holidays. Healing process involving the growing together of the edges of a wound or the growing together of broken bones. Being of or having to do with the northern United States and those loyal to the Union during the American Civil War. The act of pairing a male and female for reproductive purposes. A set containing all and only the members of two or more given sets. Let C be the union of the sets A and B. An organization of employees formed to bargain with the employer. You have to join the union in order to get a job. The state of being a married couple voluntarily joined for life, or until divorce. God bless this union. The United States, especially the northern states during the American Civil War. The state of being joined or united or linked. There is strength in union. The act of making or becoming a single unit. The union of opposing factions. A device on a national flag emblematic of the union of two or more sovereignties, typically in the upper inner corner. A political unit formed from previously independent people or organizations. Of trade unions. The union movement. The occurrence of a uniting of separate parts. Lightning produced an unusual union of the metals. The visual appearance of something or someone. A perceptual structure. Make something, usually for a specific function. Shape a figure. A concrete representation of an otherwise nebulous concept. Any spatial attributes, especially as defined by outline. He could barely make out their shapes. The state of good health. especially in the phrases, in condition, or, in shape, or, out of condition, or, out of shape. Shape or influence. Give direction to. Alternative names for the body of a human being. The spatial arrangement of something is distinct from its substance. Geometry is the mathematical science of shape. The supreme headquarters that advises NATO on military matters and oversees all aspects of the Allied Command Europe. Give shape or form to. Shape the dough. The visual appearance of something or someone. A perceptual structure. The composition presents problems for students of musical form. The phonological or orthographic sound or appearance of a word that can be used to describe or identify something. The inflected forms of a word can be represented by a stem in a list of inflections to be attached. Make something, usually for a specific function. Any spatial attributes, especially as defined by outline. Establish or impress firmly in the mind. A body of students who are taught together. Create, as an entity. Social groups form everywhere. Biology. A group of organisms within a species that differ in trivial ways from similar groups. A category of things distinguished by some common characteristic or quality. Sculpture is a form of art. A life-size dummy used to display clothes. Develop into a distinctive entity. Alternative names for the body of a human being. The spatial arrangement of something is distinct from its substance. To compose or represent. This wall forms the background of the stage setting. Give shape or form to. Form the young child's character. Physical chemistry. A distinct state of matter in a system. Matter that is identical in chemical composition and physical state and separated from other material by the phase boundary. A mold for setting concrete. They built elaborate forms for pouring the foundation. An ability to perform well. He was at the top of his form. An arrangement of the elements in a composition or discourse. The essay was in the form of a dialogue. A particular mode in which something is manifested. His resentment took the form of extreme hostility. A printed document with spaces in which to write. He filled out his tax form. Assume a form or shape. The water formed little beads. Someone whose business is to supply a particular service or commodity. Someone whose business is to supply a particular service or commodity. Someone who provides the means for subsistence. A member of the Religious Society of Friends founded by George Fox. The Friends have never called themselves Quakers. A person who backs a politician or a team, etc. They are friends of the library. An associate who provides cooperation or assistance. A person with whom you are acquainted. We are friends of the family. A person you know well and regard with affection and trust. He was my best friend at the university. Personal knowledge or information about someone or something. A person with whom you are acquainted. I have trouble remembering the names of all my acquaintances. A relationship less intimate than friendship. The state of being joined together. The connection of isolated facts by a general hypothesis. The activity of communicating. The activity of conveying information. They could not act without official communication from Moscow. A connection allowing access between persons or places. How many lines of communication can there be among four people? Something that is communicated by or to or between people or groups. The state of being allied or confederated. A connection based on kinship or marriage or common interest. The shifting alliances within a large family. The act of forming an alliance or confederation. An organization of people, or countries, involved in a pact or treaty. A formal agreement establishing an association or alliance between nations or other groups to achieve a particular aim.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.